وللمزيد حول أسعار النفط ينضم إلي من لندن السيد نيل أتكنسون مدير الأبحاث في قسم الطاقة في مؤسسة داتا مونيتور. أهلا بك سيدي. في ضوء المستويات القياسية للمخزون النفطي، هل يمكن القول بأن الرالي في سعر البرميل الذي شهدناه مؤخرا جاء قبل أوانه؟
I think the rally is most definitely very premature, and some of the bulls in the oil market declared victory far too soon. US stocks have risen yet again to record 80-year levels, as you said a second ago, and there's little doubt that those stocks will continue to rise in the United States and indeed elsewhere for some weeks to come, and maybe even longer than that.
في نفس الوقت البعض يرى بأن تراجع إنتاج النفط الأمريكي سيكون أسرع مما كان متوقعا، هل توافق؟
I don't think we can reach that conclusion yet. There's no doubt whatsoever that there has been a fall off in new drilling activity in the last 2 or 3 months. In fact, I think a 25% decline in the number of rigs that have been drilled in the US. But that does not translate into an immediate and automatic fall in actual production, because there are still plenty of other plays which are still currently in production and will continue in production for some time to come. And indeed, the International Energy Agency forecast, I think just yesterday, that total production of oil in the United States will continue to rise in 2015, even if it doesn't rise perhaps by quite as much as we expected. But it is still going to increase.
مروحة التوقعات في الأسواق واسعة اليوم، يعني بين سيتي اللي يتحدث عن $20 والبعض الآخر يتحدث عن $60 و$70 في المدى المنظور. ما سبب هذا الاختلاف وعدم القدرة على الاتفاق على أرضية وسطية برأيك؟
Because nobody knows. This is the fundamental problem. Since the end of November, when OPEC met in Vienna and took the decision to maintain its production at 30 million barrels per day for 2015 and therefore to allow the market to find its own level, everybody's been very confused. We haven't been able to understand yet what the impact of lower oil prices has, firstly on the level of increase in non-OPEC supply, and secondly on the increase in global oil demand. It's still too soon to know what the impact of the lower oil price environment is. And because of that, you get these very, very varied estimates for price, as you suggested a second ago. And the City Corp price of $20 a barrel that they mentioned just a few days ago, yes, that is entirely plausible. If supply growth isn't reduced, and if demand growth isn't increased, that is plausible. On the other hand, if demand does pick up and supply growth is not as much as expected, then yes, a $70 price is possible too. But the problem is it's still too soon to be clear what the new oil price landscape is going to look like.
لكن هل المؤكد أن مستوى $100 بالفعل أصبح وراءنا لعدد من السنوات المقبلة؟
Oh, I think that's almost certainly true. It's very, very difficult to see the supply-demand fundamentals changing in such a way that we get a significant increase in price over the next 2 to 3 years. Stocks, as we said at the very beginning of our discussion, physical stocks are rising fast, and they're going to continue to rise for at least the first 6 months of 2015, and it's going to take some time for that stock overhang to work its way through the system. Nobody expects supply growth to be cut by enough or demand growth to increase by enough to have a market tight enough to justify $100 a barrel. 5 years from now, that's of course a very, very different situation completely.
هل هذا يعني بأنكم تتوقعون في مجال التعافي أن يكون على شكل يو، بمعنى منطقة من الثبات عند مستويات دنيا ومن ثم ارتفاع، وليس على شكل في بمعنى تراجع قوي ومن ثم ارتداد إلى أعلى؟
Oh, absolutely. And I think that the bottom part of the U is going to be perhaps a little wider than expected. Having said that, always lurking in the background in the oil market today are the possibility of political shocks. In the last 2 or 3 years, of course, we've seen very, very erratic oil production levels from Libya, which currently is in a very bad situation with very low production. That could rise, that could fall back again. We also have the possibility of sanctions against Iran being eased in 2015 and perhaps putting more supply back into the market. So although I think overall the trend is, yes, most definitely for more of a U-shaped recovery than a V, I think that it might be perhaps slightly more reminiscent of perhaps of a W rather than the U or a V, although I still believe gradually over time it's a U.
السيد نيل أتكنسون مدير الأبحاث في قسم الطاقة في مؤسسة داتا مونيتور، شكرا جزيلا لك.